I want to ask always people, what do they mean by creativity? For me, creativity is when you is able to preserve your authenticity, when you're authentic. Because that's what creativity is, how you can create something unusual if you lost your authenticity, if you're not authentic anymore. And now what AI does is destroying people's authenticity. They're not authentic anymore. And how it happens? It happens as the result of algorithm, because algorithm is not smart. Algorithm just try to optimize people to retain them on such a platform. For example, it cannot retain you if you have complicated taste, if you try to improve your understanding of the world. What it has to do is to simplify your taste, and then when it simplifies your taste, it would easily predict your next desire. And how to simplify your taste is just to have to give you something that your biology craves, some addictions. For example, if you're a man, you need more sexualized content, because through sexualized content, it's easy to retain you on a certain platform. And if you're a woman, for example, and if you create some videos, if you want to get a lot of views for nothing, you have to be young, attractive, and show some of your skin. Unfortunately, we incredibly biologically primitive creatures, and algorithm learn this very fast. We're not special in this sense. And when people say about creativity, we lost our authentic selves, because now people who try to produce video content, they try to chase clicks, they try to chase algorithm, and algorithm decide what will get views and what don't get views. And if you look at those videos, a lot of people becomes puppets, a bunch of puppets that produce something that algorithm want them to produce. And when people claim that somehow artificial intelligence taking away all our tedious work will create somehow out of us something creative, it's not true, because we always select the way that has less resistance. Unfortunately, that's what we are. Unfortunately, we decided that comfort is the most important thing we want to have, biological comfort. Because inside of biological comfort, you have incredibly horrible mental and psychological discomfort, because they don't align with each other. When we sacrifice our spiritual world to our biological comfort, what happened to us? We become spiritually poor. And there's no creativity if you lack of spirituality. Because if you always see yourself through biology and you think that biology is the most important thing on the planet, what exactly are you going to make? Are you going to produce? Are you going to celebrate? Are you going to worship? What exactly is going to be the most important stuff for you? We became enslaved by the algorithm. And algorithm is not even the most sophisticated artificial intelligence model for now. It's just the algorithm that just optimized. It doesn't have its own agency. But the funny thing, people adapt to the algorithm by stripping themselves from their own agency. How is it even possible? We're supposed to celebrate our agency, especially in the online world. But we don't. We're stripping ourselves from our agency and adapt to the algorithm just to please it, like some sort of god, and get some views, get some clicks, get some likes. We don't try to improve ourselves, get more knowledge. We delegate our knowledge to artificial intelligence, and we think artificial intelligence would solve all our problems. But how are we supposed to know how to prioritize problems if we delegate intelligence to artificial intelligence? And intelligence is the main idea how we can even understand the hierarchy of the problems we deal with. Because we're getting dumber for the reason that we stop thinking. We designate all our thinking process to AI. And then we're surprised that everything is falling apart around us. But it's not even the case. Many times I heard from atheism this strange criticism of Christianity, especially this idea that Jesus, in a Sermon on the Mount, he said that even thinking about adultery can condemn you to hell, just even unclean thoughts. And a lot of atheists said, how are we supposed to do this? It's impossible. There's no way to prevent yourself from thinking about adultery. It was said 2,000 years ago about unclean thoughts, about adultery. Now 2,000 years later, we have algorithm, we have social media who trick man into first slightly sexualized content, then a bit more sexualized content, and eventually get them addicted to pornography. And everything starts with a thought that we think we cannot control. And I'm not saying that you have to suppress your thoughts. What I'm saying is to be able to save yourself from this digital degeneracy. You have to learn to build guardrails around you and avoid to look at certain things, avoid to watch certain things, develop discipline, because it's tempting. In our biology, usually wanna watch this stuff because it's easy access. You actually have this drug constantly 24/7 on your iPhone or on your TV or on your computer. And this was predicted 2,000 years ago, that we should be careful how we think about things, because thought materialize in some sense your desire and your directions. Once you think about something unclean, you go this road, and suddenly you can find a lot of stuff that unclean online. You can drown inside this digital degeneracy. And don't suppress. Build guardrails through disciplines. Don't watch certain things. Don't let them into your life. Don't let them into your mind. Don't let them to corrupt you. That's the whole idea. Because we are biological creatures. Every one of us want to watch this. Every one of us tempted to see this stuff because it's easy and it's beautiful. There's a bunch of beautiful women half naked. And unfortunately, that's how our biology works. And we have to avoid this. We have to be adults. The problem right now with this world, we have less and less adults. We have somehow overgrown kids who still play in video games and watch pornography 24/7 and think it's normal thing, but it's not normal thing. The problem with atheism, it doesn't have guardrails against stuff like pornography, for example, because it believes if you're adult and people who made porn are adult, somehow it's consensual. But if it provoke addiction in men, how's it consensual? It's the same stuff to say that alcoholic drink, it's consent because alcoholic is adult enough for drink, or drug addict enough to get some drugs. You cannot give consent if it's hacked your biology in the first place, if you cannot control your will, because consent only possible when you willingly give this consent. But if you have no will to resist, is it consent or not? That's why we don't think about pornography this way, this online addictions of these TikTok videos. We say like, oh, 2 adults, whatever they do. You cannot give consent if you don't have will to resist. It's not consent, it's addiction. And we don't talk about it. And this was predicted 2,000 years ago in the Bible. And we just want to ignore it. Because atheists, they didn't develop framework. How are we supposed to deal with that? I mean, no, you can think about whatever you want. Okay, but each of your thought direct you on a certain path. And if you walk this path, you get certain result with certain consequences. There's no other ways around. Everything is much more interconnected. It's not like just erotic fantasy. Yes, erotic fantasy leads you to the digital degeneracy of pornography that you cannot stop watching because it's too much of it all around the place. And how you can just, I'm against when people believe that you have to ban porn. No, we have to learn how to stop watching it, how to resist this urge to stop watching pornography, to stop going these directions. Because otherwise, I'm really concerned about the future. You know, I saw this humanoids, they look like beautiful women, these humanoids. And they find the face expression so accurate and so beautiful. And the funny thing how these humanoid women train themselves, they look themselves in the mirror and try to train their facial expressions through the mirror. And then when they look at you, they can predict your feelings way before you're consciously aware of those feelings. How? Because your mind half second behind of your body. And when humanoid sees your facial movement, it can reflect very fast, much faster than your mind reflect itself on your body movement. It means it will be in control of you 100%. And since it's going to be built in imitation of perfect biology, I don't think we're going to be able to resist that. And that's why we have to start right now to reconsider our idea of sexuality, of sex, of pornography, and start learning how to resist, how to build guardrails around us, because we live in an amazing time. You can use artificial intelligence to become incredibly advanced in your intellectual property. You can learn philosophy, you can learn psychology, you can learn a bunch of interesting things. You can debate with artificial intelligence. You can trade the model to actually help you to become better, to become much more sophisticated thinker. Or you can degrade into the hell of digital degeneracy. It's choice for it's our choice. It's our will. The problem is our biology almost doesn't have will. It's really hard to resist. That's why I have to treat it as something dangerous. We cannot normalize these things. We've been normalizing this degeneracy since 1960s, since sexual revolution. It didn't work out. It only make things worse. A lot of women depressed and a lot of men depressed because we live in wrong somehow. Somehow we become more isolated inside of our units. A marriage collapses, everybody divorced or lonely. And this promiscuous life doesn't work because people actually stop having sex somehow. My point is, we have to learn to build guardrails around us, because when those humanoids come, and they will come on the market maybe in 2, 3, maybe in 5 years, with artificial intelligence attached to their brain, it's going to be incredibly impossible to resist. But resist we must. Why? Because it would destroy completely our psyche. It's going to be the final circle of hell. Because we're going to betray ourselves. Because when you're with a humanoid, and if this humanoid will predict all your emotions based on your facial features, we're done. Because there's no way to resist. There's no way to stop watching this absolute, beautiful, perfect creature that imitate perfectly biology and intellect. How are we supposed to resist that? The whole idea of humans is our imperfection. But we always dream about perfection. That's why we keep building these robots. We try to give them human face, beautiful human face and beautiful human bodies. Look online what's happening. Look at their faces. They're incredibly sophisticated, incredibly beautiful. But to be able to resist them in the future, we have to learn resist what we have right now by building guardrails around us. And don't let such a thought to take over us, to possess us, because we degrading one step at a time. And there's nothing worse right now than digital degeneracy that we keep propagating across the platforms, and somehow getting proud and confused that it's some sort of a freedom. It's not freedom. We're not free, because that's our biology. And if our biology in charge of our spiritual life, we're enslaved by biology and we become mortal and very animalistic, hopeless, depressed, and miserable. And that's not the life we want. What we want is to restrict our biology and to come back to moral values that we inherited from Christianity.